Next, we have Resolution 530, change order number 2 to the agreement for Mead and Hunt Incorporated for jail consolidation, architectural engineering, design services at the Public Safety Building.
Move approval.
Moved by Corrigan,
Second.
seconded by Erickson. Discussion or questions, Supervisor Chin?
I've got a couple of questions, I guess. One, do we know who's actually generating these options, I guess? What group? Is it coming out of Public Safety Committee, or are there subcommittees? Or I notice we're starting to look at options on that are part of other options that we've already considered, and I just kind of want to get a feel for how that process is going.
When the dollars came in from the tower annex, we met with the county executive, the chairs of finance, EP&J, public works, met with the board chair and our staff to talk about the dollars that came in, 140 to 150 million. And it was, the request came from that group that we explore those three options to address any questions that may arise as we move forward in the consolidation and be prepared to address any questions that come from the full board.
Well, yeah, and I've got a couple more questions from this board. What was the logic behind looking at a Greenfield site? You know, is that part of, might have been part of the original one, I might not be clear on that, but it seems like on all three sites now, we've got renovations downtown, and then we have the Greenfield site that we're going to look at for the new Huber work release security inmates, or in that area. What is behind that? What's the logic behind that?
Well, I believe the logic behind it is to see if there's any cost savings that could be realized from any of those three options that would bring us in less than $150 million.
Okay. And does this seem to be the kind of consensus that this is going to get us to the mark after we go into this next pre-design phase, I guess?
I certainly hope so. We've been studying this project since 2002. And I think that as a county, we need to resolve this issue because we continue to have a dangerous jail. We had an overdose again this weekend, and fortunately saved that individual. Part of the problem is, a big part of the issue is our structural challenges. And I would hope that by completing these three studies that we address any and all questions that arise from the full board so that we can make an fully educated decision on how we want to proceed.
Well, I did go through the Mead and Hunt letter and their amended schedule. They're talking about having this kind of feasibility study done by the middle of April. Do you anticipate coming to the board for a decision or direction at that point?
I think that we'll have a report based upon those three options at that time. I think it delays our original timeline about 6 months.
About 6 months. So, and then the rest of, I assume you've seen this too. The rest of this phasing and the design phase, the construction phase, timeline, and it points out a construction timeline between June of 2020 and June of 2022, a 2-year construction period. Does that seem, Rick, a reasonable? I mean, you've got to work with it, I guess, but are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, based upon conversations with the architects and engineers, we feel that once a decision's made, that we can move forward and begin the renovations to be done in a 2-year period.
Thank you.
Some will be able to be done in a, faster timeline, and others will take a little bit longer, but they feel that 2 years should be enough barring any challenges that arise.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I just have one, well, I have a lot of questions, but I just have one. So I'm assuming in here, and maybe it doesn't need to be stated, but solitary confinement would go away.
Yes.
With options to.
Everything that we agreed to in the tower annex, so the reduction of 91 beds, the elimination of solitary confinement, the increase in programming space, medical and mental health housing will be included in all of these proposals,
Okay, thank you.
some more than others.
Anybody else?
I was just going to comment.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a question, I was going to do discussion.
All right, I have a question.
Okay.
So looking at the scope, I noticed that one thing they're saying is specifically not going to be in this is cost and operational cost estimates for the various options.
It's being done separately.
It is,
Staffing.
okay, so is that being done in-house basically then?
No.
or-
No, we have a contract with a provider to do a staffing analysis, because it's been several years since we did one.
Okay, I understand that, but is it gonna do that staffing analysis under these various options? Okay, all right, so let's see an operational cost estimate of that. Okay, so obviously consolidation would have, I would assume, some savings, and if we're not able to consolidate everything, we'll have an operational cost.
Good point. We need to know that too, to do the comparison. I was just going to say, I support taking a look at these other options because, we went down this road and approved the initial proposal on the jail because we recognized that we had a problem that we needed to solve. We needed to have medical mental health beds. We need to eliminate solitary confinement. We wanted to shrink our jail. We had significant safety issues and do have significant safety issues with the jail that's in this building. And I don't believe we can continue to operate the jail that's in this building long-term. We need to address the conditions that we're holding people in this building. But at the same time, I feel like we need to look at other options, given the cost of building the tower. We need to have really done due diligence and look at what our other options are and what the operating costs of these are versus the tower, and to be able to make that decision based on information that's solid and comparable to the $150 million estimate that we have.
Thank you. Other discussion? All right. Then on the motion to recommend approval, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.